Hi, I'm Larry Janeski. Today we're going to talk about installing super sumps, ultra sumps, ice guard, and triple safe pump systems. World-class, industry-leading sump systems have always been basement systems' strength, and there's good reason for that. The pump is the heart of any waterproofing system. It's where we drain all the water to from whatever perimeter system we're using. If something goes wrong with the pump system, the homeowner and you are in trouble. In our service department, we know that when a customer calls in with a problem, the worst thing they could report is a pump problem because it means their entire basement can be flooded to some depth, causing maximum property damage and inconvenience. That's why we have worked so hard to avoid pump problems. We have developed the best systems and features including water watch alarms, clean pump stands, airtight two-piece sump lids, airtight floor drains, the cord captain, an annual maintenance program, the Ultra Sump system, Ice Guard, Lawnscape Outlet, and the ultimate sump pump system, the Triple Safe. Our customers expect a dry basement, and it's up to you to install the systems they buy so they don't have any problems. The primary sump packages we will be installing are the Super Sump, the Ultra Sump battery backup pump system, the Triple Safe pump system, and the Smart Sump for crawl spaces. The Super Sump is a basic single pump system, with the standard pump in it being the Zoller M53, which is a 3rd horsepower cast iron pump with a mechanical float switch. Other pumps can be substituted for the M53, but that's the standard one in a Super Sump. The pump sits in a heavy structural polyethylene liner that measures 23 inches deep and 19 inches across the top. The pump sits on a clean pump stand, which keeps the pump up out of silt and sediment that may wash into the sump liner. The check valve is screwed right into the pump and makes the transition from cast iron to 1.5-inch PVC pipe. A check valve only lets the water pass by it in one direction. This way, water will not drain back into the sump hole from the discharge pipe when the pump shuts off. Did you know that 10 feet of 1.5-inch PVC pipe holds 1 gallon of water? And that an average cycle from an M53 pump expels about 3 gallons of water. If we did not have a check valve and this water drained back into the sump liner after each cycle, then we would be pumping 1/3 of the water twice, and our pump would be running 33% more than it has to and wasting energy. This is why the check valve is important. A rubber fitting on the discharge line is installed below the sump lid wherever you can. This provides a means of disconnect. Let's say you wanted to change the pump, you could disconnect the discharge line here and pull the pump out. This fitting also absorbs noise and vibration. When it's installed, you don't let the ends of the PVC pipe touch inside the fitting. Instead, keep the pipe about 1 inch apart inside the fitting so the rubber isolates vibration from the pump. On a Super Sump, and whenever you can on other pump systems, install this fitting under the sump lid. This way, if it ever leaks, the leak is under the lid and inside the sump where it will not matter. When installing the Ultra Sump, you will have to install this rubber fitting above the sump lid because with the extra plumbing from the Ultra Sump, there is no room for it under the lid. So be sure the 2 hose clamps are tightened down nice and tight to prevent leaks. A leak in the discharge line above the floor here or from an unglued PVC fitting could be disastrous because you'll be pumping water from below the floor to above the floor and could really cause a lot of damage. So treat above the floor fittings with careful attention that they are solid, tight, and leak-free. The Super Sump lid is a 2-piece lid. This is important because you can remove the lid to check the pump out without shutting the pump down and disconnecting the discharge line. The airtight lid keeps moisture from evaporating into the basement from the sump and makes it quieter. In addition, it keeps potential odors and radon gas from entering the basement if that were a concern. It also prevents stuff from the basement floor from falling into the sump and jamming up the pump switch, and it saves storage space as well. The lid has a floor drain in it to drain water from a plumbing leak into the sump. It's very useful, especially since the sump will be usually installed in the low spot in the floor. This floor drain is another one of our inventions. It is airtight, so damp air does not continually evaporate out of the sump hole into the basement. This is accomplished using a cup and floating ball. It's designed so no amount of dirt can get into the floor drain and clog it up. It works really well. The super sump lid has a blue grommet around the pipe and a yellow electric cord grommet around the pump cord. It has 5 lag screws to hold the lid down to the liner. We use lag screws because they thread into a hole even if there is dirt or concrete in the hole. The next feature of the super sump is the water watch alarm. This alarm sounds off like a smoke detector if the end of the probe gets wet. There is a 9-volt battery inside, and it's always on, waiting to alert the homeowner of a problem. It has a push-to-test button in it so you can see that the battery is not dead. The water watch alarm drops into a hole in the super sump lid. Next is a device called a cord captain. This clamps onto the discharge line so you can wrap any extra cord around it and make the job look neat. The cord captain also has a hole in either end for you to tie the service log envelope around, which hides your coil of extra cord. The service log envelope is important and includes wire ties to tie the extra cords up neatly, a basement waterproofing system owner's manual, which you can show the homeowner when you're done with the job, a condensation indicator strip. This small label turns red when it gets wet, and it stays red even when it dries and should be stuck to the discharge line a few inches above the sump lid. Since the groundwater is cold, the discharge line will be cold, and it will be one of the first surfaces in the basement to get wet with condensation. If your serviceman sees that the label is red at annual maintenances, then he knows there was condensation present since you were there last and can talk to the homeowner about a Santa-Dry based on that. Also included in the service log envelope is a label that says the basement was waterproofed by your company and to call you for questions or service in the future. And one that we call a water heater label. We stick one on the electric box and one on the water heater or oil tank or some other place where the homeowner and future homeowners will have access to your name and phone number. You'll have to take a magic marker and fill in your company phone number on these labels. By sticking these labels around, you are doing what we call branding the house. Whenever other people, like home inspectors, real estate agents, other contractors, or if the customer sells the house and a new homeowner comes in, or anyone comes into this house, you're letting them know by these labels that this house is your account, a job you did. You'll be building your reputation and getting referrals. And if there's ever a problem, we want the homeowner to call you instead of the competition, because usually if there's water in the basement, it's an opportunity to sell something more. Finally, there is a round pink bordered label that says to service the system annually. On this label, you write the company phone number and the month and year of the first anniversary of the installation. This tells the homeowner when the first service is due. If they choose to ignore service and have a problem years down the road, it's a record of us recommending it. Stick this label on the sump lid. There is another label like this on the front of the service log envelope. Be sure to fill in your company phone number and date on that one too.